The PlayAction Podcast is fueled by Picasso's Pizza, where every night is pizza night.
It is Buffalo, Kansas City week, a massive game here in Orchard Park. Kansas City finally coming here for a regular season game after so many regular season games for the Bills on the road there. We're going to talk all about this matchup, its huge implications, but let's start with the Bills offense versus the Kansas City defense. Now, Mark, you're writing some about that today. Let's dive in.
It's a great matchup. It's, everybody is so familiar with everybody else. I mean, I look at it in one respect of Josh Allen versus Steve Spagnuolo, the Chiefs defensive coordinator. I think he is in the conversation. I would go out on a limb and say Spagnuolo is the greatest defensive coordinator in NFL history. He's in the conversation, no matter how you slice it. And they are loaded on. The defense has been carrying Kansas City, but driving the bus this season. They are fourth in yards allowed, fifth in points allowed. If you go by EPA analytics, they're maybe not quite that high. Their run defense has been great. So that is a big challenge for the Bills. How well are the Bills going to be able to run the ball against this Chiefs defense that's only given up 83 rushing yards a game? And especially because the Bills are not going to be at full strength at wide receiver.
Right.
Presumably, if these two teams meet again, the Bills will be in better condition at wide receiver. But they're not going to have Keon Coleman. And in my view here, we won't know until Friday, Saturday, maybe even Sunday. My bet is that Amari Cooper still is going to be out for this game. We'll see. If he does play, he's not going to be 100% with his wrist injury. So that's a problem because Kansas City is willing to play man coverage. And they are going to say, prove to us you can beat us. We can stop your run. Prove to us you can beat us in man coverage on the outside. The Bills have a great answer in Khalil Shakir. We'll see what else they can come up with.
Yeah, Kansas City 9-0 right now coming into Orchard Park. You're writing today more about Spags and what he does, just kind of all the crazy looks. Now, we talked some to Bills coordinators earlier this week about what they're preparing for. Joe Brady saying speaking very highly of Spags as well. But it's such a challenge for any team going up against Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, historically, he's not one of the biggest blitzers in the league. He's middle of the pack. This year, they're currently, according to NFL Next Gen Stats, they're third in blitzing. But the point is, when they need a stop, Spags dials up a exotic look that gets a free rusher off the edge.
Yes.
So they led the NFL in unblocked pressures last year. I'll find out later today where they stand. I haven't the stats haven't been updated yet on NFL Next Gen Stats. But that's what to watch for. Unblocked rushers coming off the edge. And you might say, how the heck could the Bills do that? Everybody he does it to. So, again, you want to stay out of third and bad, and you want to be able to run the ball. The big bad Chiefs defense coming in. They have lost people though. Yeah. So last year their cornerbacks, they have one of the best cornerbacks in the league in Trent McDuffie, but they don't have L'Jarius Sneed from last season, who was a star, and he left in free agency. Can't pay everybody. Right? When you're a good team. So their starter Jalen Watson, he's on IR. He's out. So they're playing Trent McDuffie, Najee Johnson, who's a seventh-round pick from 2022, and Chamari Connor, who's a fourth-round pick, a good player, but he's not L'Jarius Sneed.
Right. I also will be interested to see if they spy on Allen this year. Willie Gay, who did it last year, he's gone now. He's off to New Orleans when you talk about guys who are no longer with the team. So it's something they could do, but not a necessity necessarily.
Yeah, interesting. That'll be an interesting thing. Their linebacking core is good. So Drew Tranquil is their sort of Matt Milano, and then they've got Nick Bolton, who was a second-round pick. Talented, star, love him. Their third linebacker is Leo Chenal, who is the one who blocked the kick against the final field goal against Denver. How much is he going to play? They rotate him in. They're not, I don't see them playing many three linebacker looks against the Bills.
Got some big names on the defensive line as well. Just what stands out to you about what that group is doing?
You know, you look at their defensive line. The Bills' defensive line is better, I think.
Okay.
But they're good. They have arguably a Hall of Famer in Chris Jones, who the Bills know so well.
Yes.
You know, just to bring back some bad memories. Last drive, just before Tyler Bass misses the field goal in the playoff game in January. Third down, I think it was third down. Josh Allen has Khalil Shakir open in the end zone on a post play. Chris Jones, one-on-one, bull rushes Deion Dawkins back into bumps Josh Allen's leg. Pass goes off target because not Allen's fault, but the pressure was there from the great Chris Jones. That was a touchdown.
Yeah.
That was a game-winning touchdown, maybe. You know, these are the little things you'll learn. So they're going to move Chris Jones around. He's a superstar. He's going to cause problems. He causes problems against everybody. Their other guys are George Karlaftis. He's kind of like a little bit better version of A.J. Epinesa as one rusher. They got a big defensive tackle, Mike Pennell. I expect to see a lot of him. He's a journeyman, but he's 330. I expect to see him trying to clog things up. So it'd be interesting to see. Again, I think the Bills need to run the ball. You can't live on third and long against Spagnuolo. He will kill you. So we'll see how well the Bills can run the ball. The Bills' defense coming off a pretty great performance in Indianapolis. 4 takeaways, a pick 6 for Taron Johnson. But now they jump into the frying pan against Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, with maybe Taylor Swift in the stands coming down from Toronto. Great matchup, fun. Catherine, let's dive into the challenge for the Bills' defense this week.
Yeah, we talked some about just we referenced the Kansas City offense in relation to the defense. They're working with a very different group of guys this season, especially at wide receiver. But I think just Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it feels so basic to say, but he's still going to make stuff happen no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, the no lead is safe against Patrick Mahomes. That's for sure. You never feel comfortable no matter what the score is at any point in the game. You know, the Chiefs' offense has not been lighting it up this year.
No.
The defense and Patrick Mahomes have driven the bus. You know, they're good, but they're not, they're not the unstoppable offense that they were when everybody was healthy and Tyreek Hill was running down the field. I mean, they're 11th in points, they're 10th in yards, 7th in EPA. Their running game is good. 6 EPA. So will they have Isaiah Pacheco this game? He's been on IR, might play, might not. That's something to watch. The last time the Bills faced them, it was a terrible game for the Bills' defense was pathetic in the playoffs. Kansas City marched up. Bills never stopped them. They marched up and down the field. They got to stop when Jordan Poyer made a miraculous punch out at the goal line. But it was a terrible day for the Bills' defense, which was banged up. So, I think you're always going to try to stop the run with a light box against Patrick Mahomes. So the defense against the run, which was terrible in the playoffs, that will be a big challenge no matter who plays running back for the Chiefs. The Chiefs' middle 3 on the offensive line is great. With Joe Tooney, Creed Humphrey, maybe the best center in the league, and Trey Smith, a road grader. They're not as great at offensive tackle. Jawan Taylor, Mr. Pre-snap illegal motion is at right tackle, and Wanya Morris banged up. It looks like he's going to play at left tackle.
Let's circle back on that receiving core and just how it looks different. Now, DeAndre Hopkins is a difference maker. They just added him recently. His first game was against the Raiders in Las Vegas, but then his next game against Tampa, he had 2 touchdowns. It feels wild that they were able to get him just from a standpoint of, bringing him into the offense. But what else are you seeing out of these wide receivers?
Yeah, I mean, Hopkins is legit. He's still good in his 30s. Juju Smith-Schuster has been filling another role. The need arose to make a move to get Hopkins because they lost their best wideout, Rashee Rice, for the season to a knee injury. So again, Brett Veach, the Chiefs GM, continues to make the necessary moves. Hopkins gives them an X outside the numbers receiver that they can count on. So he's legit. Xavier Worthy, the fastest player in the NFL. They drafted him, of course, in the first round, as Bills fans know, and a trade up with the Bills. Has been okay, but has not set the world on fire. So he's a piece. He's an important piece to the puzzle who you have to respect, but his production hasn't been great. And again, the offense runs through Travis Kelce, though.
Yeah.
He's got 32 catches the last 3 games, which is, I think I read, the second highest 3-game total by a tight end ever since Jason Witten in 2012 had 33 in a 3-game stretch. So Kelce is going to catch his passes. You need to contain him. He's a problem. It's a problem.
Yeah, they're using 12 personnel, third most in the league at 31.6%. They used to use 3 tight ends a little more, but they've been banged up there, so they've moved away from that some. But look for them to use 12 personnel with Kelce and Noah Gray.
Absolutely. They're 2 good tight ends. They did kill the Bills in January with the 3 tight end. Killed the Bills with 3 tight end looks and just pounded the Bills on the ground. But they've been banged up. They haven't been using 3 tight ends. Almost none this year.
This game in a vacuum is always exciting to watch, but let's talk about the bigger implications looking ahead later in the season to the playoffs and just what this could mean.
Yeah, I think the vibe I get from Bills fans I talk to is they have a clear view that this is not the Bills Super Bowl or the Chiefs Super Bowl, obviously. It's a regular season game. It's an important game. It could have big implications, but let's face it, the Bills have gone to Kansas City 3 years in a row in the regular season and won. The Bills could win in Kansas City. Kansas City just came here last January and won. The Kansas City could come here and win in the playoffs. It is so the number 1 seed is on the table here, though, for the Bills. You would rather play them in Buffalo, sure.
Yeah.
So, the Bills, if the Bills win, let's say, Kansas City would need to lose at least 1 more game if the Bills win out, which is asking a lot. And, this is all preliminary, but who knows? The Bills could lose to New England. Kansas City could lose to Las Vegas. The Bills lost to New England last year, but it's probably not going to happen. All right, so let's play it out for the fun of it. Can Kansas City lose 1 or 2 more games? You look at their schedule: Carolina, Vegas, but then they got the Chargers, tough game, Cleveland, Houston, not an easy game, at Pittsburgh, at Denver. Denver always plays them tough. They just played them tough.
They did.
So Kansas City could lose 1 game. They could lose 2 more games. They could go 14-3. The Bills have tough games: San Francisco, Rams, Detroit. Sure, looks like a potential loss. Then it gets easier after that. So, yes, the number 1 seed is potentially on the table. Okay, what if the Bills lose? The number 1 seed is off the table. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think then you're looking around the AFC at large and just kind of what it's going to mean matchup-wise, potentially who they're going against. Baltimore, Pittsburgh's still in the mix right now, but the rest of their schedule, they still have to play all of their division. So I think that's
Baltimore. Right. Pittsburgh 7-2. They got Baltimore twice, Cincinnati twice, tough outs, Kansas City, and Philadelphia at Philly. So, I think Baltimore is the team that Bills fans fear a little bit. You know what I mean?
Agree.
After that game. And also, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, this is the best Baltimore offense they have ever had. Baltimore's defense is underachieving, or is not playing dominant, is not like Kansas City's defense, but Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, they are scoring. When Baltimore gets knocked out of the playoffs, they're scoring 28 or 30.
No.
Somebody is beating them 33 to 30, 36 to 28. Their offense is great. It would be nice if you're a Bills fan to look at it. It would be nice to say you wouldn't have to get past both Baltimore and Kansas City on the way to the Super Bowl. Find a way to beat one of them, not have to beat both of them. That would be, I think, a good case scenario for the Bills. Some fans might be saying, what about Houston? Well, they're 6-4. They got the Chiefs, Ravens, and Miami still to go. I think the Bills, if the Bills are who we think they are, who fans hope they are, the Bills are going to be ahead of Houston. So, it's a question. Can you find a way if you're the number 2 seed? Number 2 seed, you might have to get past Baltimore and Kansas City.
Just a huge game with, implications for later down in the season, but also just the game itself is sure to be a really fun one from a football standpoint. We'll have all of your coverage leading up to it, post-game coverage, and just everything you need on buffalonews.com. And then Mark and I will be back next week, so make sure you're subscribing wherever you get your podcasts to listen along.
Treat your team to the most flavorful pizza on game day at Picasso's Pizza. 4 great Western New York locations: Williamsville, West Seneca, Lancaster, and Blaisdell. Picasso's. We are Buffalo's Pizza since 1980. Order online today at picassospizza.net.